Hello, and welcome back. This is the third episode of The State of Things with C.K. Slater. I'd like to very warmly welcome a good friend of mine by the name of Blair Hassler to the interview couch today. But Blair, I'd hate to steal any of your thunder today on this auspicious occasion, so please take it away.
Hi, CK. It's great to be here. I have enjoyed your previous episodes, and I am delighted to be here.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am a business owner, and I am the director of Nerd Homes. We install smart home and surveillance equipment, but mostly smart home related, commercial and residential applications. Smart lights, smart AC systems, smart locks, anything that you can think of in your home that would be of use to run on your phone as opposed to walking up to it and doing it manually, or having the ability to check it while you're away. That's the kind of thing that we do.
Well, me being a burgeoning entrepreneur myself here with this little ragtag group of ne'er-do-wells we have running the show, I do have a lot of questions for you as an entrepreneur. You are not alone, though, in the endeavor, though, are you?
No.
If you don't mind me asking, are you classified as an LLC or a partnership?
We are an LLC.
Okay, are you S-corp?
S-corp for tax purposes.
Yes. Okay, well, sorry, I got to indulge my inner finance nerd from time and again.
No problem.
But could you tell me a little bit more about the birth of the idea? Like, was this a late night drinking session between you and your business partner, who feel free to introduce?
Yeah, Tim Flagg is the other really owner and main force behind Nerd Homes, and the corpus is really his baby. I joined a month in, and I've contributed greatly to the formation of this toddler of a business. But the main inception and idea was Tim's. I don't want to claim credit for that. My expertise was seeing that it was a good idea, and when he said, "Do you want to try and make this into a functioning idea?" I said, "Of course. This has legs. This is."
He needed hands and legs, and you had hands and legs to help.
I had that, and I saw need meeting a product and a service married together in a really, really timely fashion, and so I jumped on it, and I think that is a key part to being a good businessman in any way, because your business is never static. You come up with one idea, but it needs to be a different idea 2 years down the road, or even 6 months down the road sometimes. And so you always have to be looking at need and what niches you can possibly fill.
Well, how long have you? How old is this business, if you don't mind me asking?
We're about a year old.
Okay. Is this your first business venture?
It's the first one. I'm trying to think. I've done little side projects, but
is this the first one you're taking a real swing at the ball?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, real money. We're trying to be real adults and have a real business.
Yeah,
I don't mean to patronize you in any way by saying
that,
but you understand.
No.
It's like this is the first real bite at the apple.
For me, as a director, anything above the accountant level, yes.
Now, what is Tim's experience prior?
He was in like I was in accounting. He was in finance before this, and so both of us have approached this from a very cost savvy position, because we understand. You got to have your price exceed your variable costs, and in a healthy way. And therein lies your margin.
Well, with any endeavor like this, besides getting the funding to get it off the ground in the first place, which is always the biggest hurdle, that first biggest step. But once you've made that happen, moving forward from there, getting in touch with your potential customer base and seeing what the market looks like. Could you tell me a little bit more about your early interactions with your customer base?
Well, like I said, we've run into both commercial and residential applications for our products, and I have to say, personally, I enjoy the commercial a little bit more. The main thing is that if you're going into a situation and you're going to have to change anything, people, even if it's just taking a light switch off a wall and putting something new in there, they don't like that happening in their home. They're a little protective of their home. If it's adding a camera that you can view on your cell phone that's a fixture, you're drilling into their soffit or something. They get a little uncomfortable. While in a commercial setting, it's all about, I need this done. I need this, to work. And so it's a lot more about the functionality in a commercial setting. And so that's one of the things I've seen from our customers early on.
A business isn't a home, and they're, the kind of emotional ties that anytime you go into someone's house, I, was involved in real estate for a little while, so I understand intimately how touchy some of those decisions can be, especially working with the kind of individuals and the kind of socioeconomic range I would imagine would be affording these things are going to be somewhat picky customers.
You run into all types.
Yeah, and I don't want to typecast anybody, but I can understand how demanding the marketplace can be.
It can be. Well, and it's always that thing about when you work with customers, you don't have one boss, you have 100 bosses.
Yeah.
And always realizing that though this is your business, life is a people business, and so you always need to be satisfying.
Building relationships, maintaining relationships.
Exactly. No burned bridges. Sometimes you have to eat your hat. You do it.
Absolutely. Well, I was hoping to build a bridge here today, getting you on. I first met Blair not too long ago. We were having dinner with Tim, his business partner, and Tim's girlfriend, a girl by the name of Brittany Glenos, who I know a lot of you out there will know. And I met Blair, and we all had the great idea, and I believe this was Cinco de Mayo, to get together and bounce some ideas off each other over the podcast. But getting back to talking about your business and talking about your developments, how has it been difficult for you to go from a position of being an employee to an employer, or basically being an employer of yourself, where it's you imposing that get up and go, that drive every day? You don't have a boss with the sword of Damocles hanging over you.
I find working for the market to be a much easier thing than working for other individuals. My interactions with customers are far more satisfying and positive than my interactions with any supervisor that I've ever had. And so I have to say that I believe that people work best on positive reinforcement. And so it's much easier when you even classify it like that, there's so much more positive reinforcement in being in this role. Now there is a lot of delayed gratification that comes in this role. If you don't get out there and find jobs and complete them, you don't get a paycheck. And so psychologically, it is a totally different model of rewarding or reinforcement, but I find it to be far more satisfying for me. I was in roles that were accounting, that were bean counting, for lack of a better metaphor.
Pushing numbers around.
Right. And I lived in Excel. Now I live talking to customers. And
you're pointing at different points of the house, saying we can do something here, we can do something here. You're coming up with plans. And
right. I'm bidding with taking bids from, or putting together bids, taking estimates from skilled tradesmen, mostly electricians. And so I'm out there dealing with the actual thing, the business, instead of sort of tabulating side metrics for the business.
You feel like it's your and his product coming out, and it's something that you own, and it's the product of your labor, as opposed to you're in a business where there are a million different, spoons in the pot, and you can't directly tie, when you complete a project, you can point to that project and say, I did that for them. It's a very tangible thing.
Correct.
That you can point to, as opposed to, as I've worked in finance as well. that it can be difficult to tie some of that emotional reward to what your job is there.
Absolutely, and that's why they have people sending them to Six Sigma and to any of the other various hocus pocus kind of business philosophy things. That what really come down to it at the end is you're not. If you need that kind of thing to motivate your people, then you're not incentivizing in the right way. A lot of this is around cost cutting, which we have end of the line metrics like net income, which they go up or down. They're binary, or
I'd hate to interrupt you, Tim, but it strikes me as one of those things where the larger a business interest becomes, the more incumbent upon them it becomes to take some of those cost-saving measures, because as you grow in economies of scale, as you try and exponentially grow a business, those kind of marginal decisions where it's, okay, this is a 2-cent lower bid on the toilet paper for our stores, those decisions start to matter more as you get bigger, and you really have to make some of those decisions, and maybe eventually you have shareholders, where when you're a smaller enterprise like the partnership you and Tim have, it's, I would imagine, easier to be able to have a high quality product, but since you and him can own so much of putting that together and getting a good solid bid and making sure, I know with your background in the construction industry, you were telling me that you have a very good background in making sure that the work gets completed on time, which I know in the construction industry, it can take a steel glove or a steel gauntlet with a velvet glove over it, where you have to be firm, but you have to know how to work with people.
I think it's a lot about relationships. Yeah, like you were saying, if you're going to be working with people that are your subcontractors or even clients that are, you have to realize that it's all about relationships. It's not about, everybody can have the same product, but if you make them feel better than the guy next to you, then you're going to get the business or get future business down the line from them giving recommendations. The one thing I wanted to say about the cost cutting is that the danger that most businesses make is that they confuse cost cutting with its brother value adding. And though they are nearly identical twins, they are not one and the same.
They're conflating lowered costs to them as opposed to the highest quality end product they could make and the highest quality experience they can bring to the customer.
Correct. Because they look very similar when it comes to net income.
Well, and I feel like it takes a deeper understanding of capitalism, because a lot of people get into stuff with, okay, my priority is going to be on saving money and making sure that I'm being as spendthrift as possible. But if you look at these smaller enterprises like high-end restaurants or very good bars, the reason they stand out is because of the experience they provide to the customer,
right,
which goes back to what you were speaking about, the relationship. And I think as we continually automate more and more jobs, that having that skill set, building the relationship, having the human touch, especially at, I would say, higher ends of the market, because I think Amazon for a lot of people is going to take over a lot of these e-commerce and automation. Obviously, you work with a physical product that has to be physically installed. There is planning there, especially on the commercial side. I think there might be some more opportunity there. But have you guys taken any thoughts to worries about automation? Or I understand, coming from accounting and finance, which is something I have a background in as well, one of the great concerns is automation. We're up against it here, but if you want to very briefly give us a little treatise on that.
I'm in the school of thought that automation adds more jobs. They're just more technical, and that it comes down to education and that kind of macroeconomic.
There's always been, capitalism is creative destruction. There's always been innovative industries that have torn out old jobs, but ultimately we've been able to innovate our way into more.
We don't want peasants doing peasant jobs.
Yes, I do think there is a concern about retraining people and having maybe a different educational outlook to cater ourselves and our populace in a forward-facing fashion in the 21st century to make sure we can address the challenges that are facing us. But I think that's a pretty good bow to wrap up our first segment with. This has been Blair Hassler, and I am CK Slater, but we will be right back.